Hey everybody, I'm Danny from the Engine Hire, and I want to welcome you all to this webinar featuring Michelle Sherritt from Q Camp and Situated Research. Um, if you all want to, I just mentioned it, but again, throw your URL to your website in the chat, and hopefully we can get around to looking at it, and Michelle can give you some pointers straight to you. But otherwise, I want to invite Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, would you love to share a little bit about yourself and we can get started?
Yeah, for sure. Welcome, everyone. It's great to be here today. Thank you, Danny, for having us. As Danny said, my name is Michelle Sherritt. I am one of the owners of a company called Q Camp, which is a digital marketing firm located in Chicago. So we create user-friendly websites. We do social media marketing and SEO strategies. So after we build you a great looking website that's functional and user-friendly, we then get the word out to everyone. And then Situated Research is our parent company. That's a usability firm where we have PhDs on staff who look at all the things that we're going to talk about today. So that's a little bit about me. I do a lot of these webinars and talks for our business. And so I thought I'd come on today and share some insight for you folks as well.
Amazing.
So we'll go ahead and get started. I have a few slides that we're going to go through. These are basically just pointers and things for you guys to think about when it comes to your website. And then, as Danny said, we'll go ahead and we'll see how much time we have left. And we'll go ahead and review your sites as well that you've put into the chat. So if you'd like your website looked at, go ahead and put in the URL to your website in the chat. And when we get to that time, we'll go ahead and look at it. So let me go ahead and start my slides. All right. So I usually do this webinar for different groups of people, realtors in different industries. And there's always a common denominator with why people attend this webinar. And that's that they want their website to be user-friendly. They want their website to convey what they want to convey online because we're not online to speak to our audience, right? So we do that through our website. We've conducted over 5,000 website reviews since 2008 when we started our business. And the key usability issues that we see come from content, labeling of pages on your website, search functionality, how long is the user journey? And so a user journey is like if someone Googles and brings up your website and they come to it, can they find the information easily? If they're purchasing an item, how long does that take, that process? And we have a lot of clients where their website doesn't even work or function correctly. They could be on Google and their website works great. They could use, Bing or a different browser and their website isn't functioning because they have coding errors and they have no idea. So these are just a few of the things that come up when we do our research analysis. So today we're going to talk about how accessible is the content on your website. Do you have consistent branding throughout your website? Is your website responsive? So we want to make sure that your website looks great online as well as on a mobile device, on a tablet. Does your website have consistent and easy to use navigation? Are the navigation labels descriptive and grouped appropriately? So that's the labels of the pages on your website. And is it easy or even possible to search on your site? And do you have clear calls to action? So first, you want to make sure, everyone wants to make sure that their website is appealing to people. Right off the bat, as a user, when you do a Google search, you know when you come to a website if it's up to date or if it looks aged. There's some websites that you go to where you're like, wow, this is old. Their copyright might say 2023, but they haven't touched it in 15 years. And you guys know that. And we usually leave those types of websites. It's not appealing, it's not fun, and it's boring. And so then we associate that with you and your company too. We want to create a good first impression. Usually we go to networking events or we're handing out our business card. And so right away we go back to our office, we type in that URL and we pull up your website. So it is our first impression of you. We want to build good relationships online. We want to convey trust. And that's an emotion that needs to convey and come through your website as well. So some things to think about. These are just a few things. Color psychology is one, and this basically just means, the colors that are on your website, they mean something. A lot of people, like we've worked with a lot of medical companies, and they'll use red all the time. Red is a horrible color to use in the medical industry just because it means danger, stop, don't proceed, don't move forward. Especially in the health industry, it's pretty bad. And everybody knows that green means go, move forward. Green's a positive color, right? So we associate these colors with different moods, different emotions. Now, when it comes to color psychology, we have to think of our branding as well. So we all have a logo. We've all had one created for us. There's colors in our logo, hopefully. And so when we design a website, we play off of those colors. We may choose complementary colors that work with the colors in your logo, or we may just actually use those colors. So making sure that there's consistency with your branding throughout your website is important as well. We also want to make sure that we have intuitive and logical menu navigation. So when we look at, this is just a menu from one of the medical sites that we redid. But if you look, like if it says, accessories, we know exactly, okay, well, when we go to that page, we're going to see all of their products that are accessories. Humidifiers, that's all we're going to see. So it's very clear and precise. When we go to an About Us page, we want to learn about you and your business. So you want clear, concise labeling so that people know exactly what you're talking about. The other thing too is that you want to make sure that your menu navigation is not too long. Have you guys ever gone to a website where the menu navigation at the top has like 15 things in it? And you're like, oh my gosh, and then it has all these sub menus. And you're like, I don't even know where to find what I came to the website to look for. I'm lost. That loses users right away. Situated Research, we do a lot of user testing. And so we have users who test websites and software. And the first thing that they say is, I can't find what I'm looking for. This isn't labeled in a way where I can intuitively find what I'm looking for. So it's very important. And these are all things, as business owners, it's our website, it's our baby, but we don't think about these things. We're like, oh yeah, this page, this is what you're going to find. And a user could be like, I have no idea what's on that page. I can't tell. So you want clear and distinct labeling. So these are just a few examples. This is our menu navigation from our website. So you can see About's going to be about us, the blog's the blog, the solutions are the offerings that we offer, etc. HelloFresh does a good job as well with their labeling too. And we actually help them with their infrastructure for that. So, there's always, users and they want to have that clear, concise labeling. So when they go to that page, they know what they're looking for and what they're going to find. This is just an example of some confusing labeling. This is our city of Naperville, what used to be our website. Naperville is the town that we're in here in Chicago. And users were just confused. As you can see, there's a top menu. There's a left menu navigation, and then that has sub-menus. You can see the arrow. And then on the right, you have featured topics, and at the bottom, it's just all over the place, right? So as a user, you're like, I don't know. I just want to know when you're going to collect my leaves. Like, how do I find that? Like, you have no clue. So that's been redone, but this is just an example of confusing labeling. Oh, I did put it up. So you can see the sub menu for if you click about Naperville, what comes up. I mean, this is just crazy. And then there's more sub menus, there's more arrows. So you can take a website, it's called information architecture. So if you have a lot of information on your website, there is a clean and clear way to label your pages and make it so you don't have 30 sub pages. So we have information architects who actually look at that. Look at the content on your website to make sure that it's laid out in a way where users can find the information quickly. Another thing that we look at is loading speeds. So this is how well does your website perform? So how quickly if somebody comes to your website, does it load quickly? Or do you have to wait a few seconds? And some people are like, oh, it's okay if they have to wait a few seconds. Think about when you go to a website and you have to wait for a slideshow to load, or it just takes forever. It seems like forever, and it's only a few seconds, but you leave the website and you're annoyed, you're frustrated, you want immediate satisfaction, you want it to come up quickly. Same thing with your website because visitors get impatient. So this is a free tool. It's called marketing.grader.com. And you can test your website for free. And you can look at the performance, you can look at the SEO, you can see if your website's secure, all types of things. But this will help you also to figure out if your website loads quickly, which is a factor when it comes to usability, right? Consistency is a number one issue I always see with websites. So consistency meaning some websites that we look at, the menu navigation should always be at the top. But for some reason, when you get into the internal pages, it goes into the left column or it's hidden. Or you scroll down a page and the menu navigation totally disappears. Or you click on an internal page and it looks like a completely new website. And you're like, what happened? Am I still on this website? And you try to hit the back button and you can't get back and all of that. You want to make sure that your website doesn't have these issues, right? You want to make sure that when people come to your website, it's consistent. The labeling's in the same place. The user knows exactly what to look for on any page within the website. They can clearly click on your logo at any point in the website and get back to the home page. So consistency is important. Content, you want to make sure that your website's not too wordy because then it makes it boring. You want your website to be fun. You want your website to be intuitive. You want it to be user-friendly. You want it to look good, right? So if you have a bunch of content on it, it's way too wordy. People are not going to read online. Think about when you do a search and you go to a site, you don't read word for word what's on people's websites. You're looking for headings. You're looking for exactly what you came to the website for, what you searched for, those keywords. And you want clear calls to action throughout the website as well, so that you as a user know what you're supposed to be doing when you come to the website. So here are just some sample calls to action that I pulled up, just big buttons, good fonts. Sometimes like this top one where it says the free 14-day trial, the stuff that's underneath is kind of hard to read. So you want to make sure that you have big, clear buttons on your website that are labeled in a way that you know that when I click on this button, what's going to happen. You also want to make sure that your website's responsive. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but just making sure that your website looks and feels just like it does on a desktop, same way on your phone, right? Everybody's mobile now. Everybody's Googling things when they're on the train, going to work, whatever they're doing, traveling. So make sure that your website's user-friendly. You'd be surprised how many people think that their website's user-friendly, but it's not. So make sure you check on that. And that website grader.com site that I gave to you guys will check to make sure that your website's user-friendly. This is an old slide of our old website, but it just kind of shows you that your website is responsive on a tablet, desktop, and phone. And these are things where you're like, well, duh, I would hope that it would be, but you never think about it, right? Your website's built and someone comes to you and they're like, I was on my phone and I could not find your menu navigation. I couldn't find this or that, or it was off the page of your phone, right? You guys have gone to websites like that where that's happened before, but you want to make sure that's not your website that's doing that, right? You also want to encourage communication. So you're building trust online. You are not physically able to speak to anyone. So on your website, you want to make sure that you have your social media channels listed. You want to make sure your contact information is in the footer. You want to make sure that you have a contact us page, reviews if you have Google reviews. You want to make sure that you are building trust through your website because this is the first channel that everyone comes to online to find you. So this is just a nice diagram that we came up with, it just illustrates that everything that you do, all your marketing efforts, any kind of print advertising that you do, social media marketing, videos. It all comes back to your website, right? You see a Facebook ad, you're going to click on it, you go to someone's website. So you guys know how that works. So your website needs to be really good, right? And it needs to give a good first impression, and it needs to gain trust with people online so that they call you. So we're going to now get into the marketing and looking at your guys' website. So I hope if you didn't have a chance in the chat, if you want to go ahead and put in the URL to your website, we'll go ahead and start looking at your websites. But a free tool, if you don't want us to do this today, is on our website. And I'll show you that in just a moment, where we can go ahead and do a 15-minute video for you and go over all these different areas that we just talked about. And it's free. So you get a video, a YouTube link. It's private just for you. You can review it for 5 days. And if you have any questions, you can contact us. And if you don't, you don't. So it's pretty easy. So I'm going to go ahead and go in to the chat and see the websites that we have, and then I'll pull those up. Okay, so we do have some folks. This is good. Okay, so I'm going to pull the first one. Just give me a sec. We'll go ahead. Stop sharing. I'm going to go to my browser. Okay. All right, so this is our website. I'm going to go ahead and put in the first one. So if this is your website, just wave. All right, hi. All right, let me go ahead and fix my screen here.
Please be brutally honest. I put our website into the grader that you recommended, and we got a 14 out of 30.
Okay. See? So something to work on, right? And that's a free tool too. I mean, don't be ashamed either, seriously, because there's a lot of people who have built websites where they're like, oh, I thought it was. And portions of it are, but portions of it aren't. So no worries. So the first thing that we do when we look at a website is first impressions, right? Because that's what we do, right? When we go on Google and we search for our website and we pull it up, like I said before, is it outdated? Does it look old? Is it aesthetically pleasing? All those good things. So first impressions here, as I scroll down, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. So we're looking, there's content. This is the homepage. So we're looking, it looks pretty good. Some good clear images, the footer. Okay. So this is pretty good. When we do these videos, we try to, I call it the sandwich. So I give really good stuff like, oh, you did this really well, your logo looks great, your menu navigation's great. And then I get into some nitty-gritty things that need to be worked on. And then I bubble wrap it again. And I'll be like, oh, you guys, great images, these are awesome, and I don't want you to be like, oh, all down and out on your website. I just want you to take some things away. So for this website, the STEM Nanny Company, we want to know when we come to a website right off the bat, what is this website about? So it's pretty clear. So that's good. I would say the logo I would work on a little bit because it is a little small. And so usually with logos, we usually don't put a tagline in with the logo for the website purposes, just because it gets small like this, because we're limited to a small amount of space, right, to put our logo in the left corner. So we want to make sure that it pops. So you may want to leave that out because you are restating it right here. And you guys can see my pointer, right? Yeah, you guys are good. Okay. It's good to have this, the name of the company, and then a little tagline under it. That's great. The shopping or the lock here, I'm a little confused as to why the lock is there. And there's probably a whole explanation of why this is here. But as a user just coming to this website for the first time, I'd be like, okay, well, Like at first I thought it was a shopping cart and I was like, oh, it's a lock. So why is there a lock there? So that's a question as a user that I would have. So again, you want to make sure that your website's intuitive and that users aren't questioning anything. The other thing that I would say next is that we look at the menu navigation. So with the menu navigation, users pretty much about 98%, I think it is, or 97% of users know that if they're on any part of your website, that if they just click on your logo, they'll be taken back to the home page. So especially with people who have a longer menu navigation, we really don't need home anymore. So we can go ahead and get rid of it. A lot of people say, well, what about SEO, like SEO purposes? Well, search engine optimization. We submit a file to all of the search engines when we build a website, and it has your menu navigation in there and it'll have the home. So it's not needed for that. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at, I want to look at your homepage first. So I like the images. These are very clear, bright, vibrant images, which is nice. Here's a call to action. So your contact button, you may just want to say contact us, just add the word us. There's a lot of free space though here. And the reasoning for that is because it's the blocks of the theme, right? So I'm sure you didn't build this website yourself, did you?
I did.
You did. What platform did you use?
We use Wix.
You used Wix. Okay. So with Wix, Shopify, GoDaddy, they have themes for you to choose from, right? And then you just simply fill in the content. When we build websites, we usually use WordPress. It's just another platform that's pretty well known. But we're able to like customize things. So like we could shrink this picture so that this white space isn't here, but that it still lines up. So there's some limitations to other platforms, but this looks great so far. Definitely putting where you serve is good. This is also good for SEO, by the way. Listing out exactly what areas you serve, which is good. And then here we have some content, right? That's on the home page here. Without reading all of this, because I'm not going to read it, but I would definitely want to have users look at this and be like, do they look at it? Or are they looking for an about page where this content would be listed? So it doesn't necessarily need to be on the homepage. You could be like, you could put a really cool heading and then you could say, learn more about us, big call to action button, and it goes to your about us page. The last thing that you want to do, and I didn't mention, is that you never want to have users scrolling and scrolling through a page because you'll lose them. So making sure that you limit that on your website is important as well. I really like that you have reviews here. This is always important. Again, this is another avenue for you to gain trust with your users, right? So if you can hook in your Google reviews, or if you can put in actual testimonials from clients, that's good. I find when you put in actual testimonials from users like this, usually a picture of them is good to put up, just because I'm not saying that you did this, but you can make it up, right? You can put whatever content you want here. If you have your Google reviews, that's automatically synced from Google. So whenever you do something like this, I would just say, put up a nice little picture of their face. And this is nice that you can scroll through like this. So that's really good. Okay. So then you have your Google reviews and you have your Yelp reviews. That's good. Okay. How we serve you. This is good. Again, I would limit this content here to maybe 2 or 3 lines, just because users aren't going to read it all. But when they go to that learn more and go to that actual page, that's where you put all that content. And another thing too, I said, scrolling through a page and going on and on with content, you can break up that content with big headings and images and things like that. Shayna, do you have a question?
I do. Please. Also, on that bottom part, those two blocks that you see there, where
Yep.
you said there's too much information, would that be somewhere where maybe you would want to do like bullet points instead of sentences to make it not so wordy?
You definitely could break this up and put like a sentence and then put a few bullet points. That would break it up too. Yeah. It's just, putting a paragraph, users are going to kind of gloss over it and then not know what these learn more buttons are. So yeah, definitely bullets would be perfect. That's another way to do it. I love this image. This is very clear and clean. And then you have our newest blog post. So you see here how the blog post titles are getting cut off. So we have a lot of clients who, they make their website on their own using Wix or Shopify and stuff. And we can continue with that platform and help them out. This is probably just because there's too many lines in the title. So it's getting cut off. I'm sure if you shorten the titles, they wouldn't be cut off anymore. And so, that's an easy fix, right? You guys can do that. And then we have our footer. So we have contact us form. So something about forms on websites that we can talk about right now. Okay, so someone comes to the website, right? And again, think about yourself when you're online and they have a form and you want more information. You as the user don't want to give too much information, right? Because you feel like you're going to get spammed. You're just going to be put on a spam email list. You're going to be spammed all the time, or it's information that you don't want to give out because I don't really know you yet. So you want to keep the form very simple, unless it's like it's an e-commerce site and you're ordering products or something like that and you need more information. But right off the get-go, get their name and email and be done. Or if you need their phone number, then get their name, email, phone number, and be done. Asking for their address right away, like I wouldn't do it. And I wouldn't. So you definitely could put a message here, like fill out a message or tell us about you and your needs or whatever, that's fine. But you also want to limit the form to not too many fields because users aren't going to fill it out right off the bat. So something to think about. And then down here, I'm on my laptop, so I'm trying to see. You do have your social media buttons. Okay, cool. All right, so that's good. I definitely would change the copyright and make it current to 2023. That's something that's easy to do too. We'll go ahead and we'll look at one internal page and then we'll move on. Well, actually, since you have submenus, we'll look at this first. So when I talked about the menu navigation, we don't want it to be too long. And we also don't want it to be too deep with too many subpages. So we want to have between 3 to 4. 5 is fine, but you just don't want to make it too long. And you also want to make sure that the label navigation makes sense to the user. So this is good. You guys did a really good job here. But I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to go ahead and click on an internal page. And let's take a look at that. So I don't know what your load speed showed on that marketing grader, but that you saw that little delay that happened. So that's just something to think about. I thought I had to click on it again. I didn't click on it, but it came up. So just something to think about. So as we move down, so this is our resource center. So this should be labeled the same as what the pages that I clicked on. So if I clicked on Playtime Resources, this should say Playtime Resources. Again, consistency. I'm kind of going through here. So we have some free resources that you can click on. Okay. And then premium resources. Cool. So this page is pretty simple. I would just make sure consistency with the labeling. I'm just going to go to one more internal page and then we'll move on to the next website. You saw the delay. Yeah. So what did I click on? Let me see. Can I click on that? Oh, view open nanny. Okay. Okay, so these are the open nanny positions. So seeking stellar staff. I'm going down. So this is a lot of content here as well. You may want to, I mean, I have to look at this content and see exactly like, does it need to be on this web page or not? Is this something that we can tell people later on after they apply? And then, okay. So I would have to dive deep into this page to kind of give you guys some feedback. But before we leave your website, are there any questions that you have for me that I could answer for you before we get off this one? No? Yeah.
I think that, well, if you could just click on one more page under for families,
Yeah.
I think you'll say that it's too much under learn more.
Okay. Let's take a peek. Okay.
I'd
So
like your feedback if it is too much information, because the bottom of the page is where the families submit their application. So this is kind of the pre-selling section, I guess, to inform them a bit more about the agency.
okay. So these are like your offerings, right?
A description of the benefits of working with us, I would say. But each of the sections have different areas that they can click on. So if they want to review our curriculum, they have the option to do that. If they want to take a look at our nannies, the option to do that.
I would, okay. And then, oh, then there's the form. Okay. There's a way to display this so that the page doesn't go on and on and on. And you can use accordions, it's called. So basically, I don't know if you guys have ever been on a website where it has like a title and then it'll have a little down arrow and you could click on the down arrow. For this form, I would do that just because the page goes on and on. I would also break up the content with some images. I would add some images in here. There is space for it. So I definitely would do that. And then I would have to look at the content, or an information architect would have to look at it to make sure that this content's relevant, that it would need to be on here. But it is a lot of content for this page. Definitely breaking it up with, bigger headings and images would be helpful. But I don't know if all this content's relevant for this page or not without reading through it, but I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, good. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna move on. Let me go ahead and find the next website.
Thank you so much for that.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, so we have Molly Coddlers. Let's go ahead and do that.
My anxiety is increasing by the second.
Do it.
my heart's pounding. I'm getting my workout right now. Just
No. It's gonna be good. Don't worry.
yeah, I already know that it takes a really long time for my images to load. So
okay. So the thing with that, what platform did you build your site on?
so I had it done, and they did it through WordPress.
Okay, awesome. So the only thing, so WordPress is an amazing platform. That's what we use. But you have to optimize the images and resize them so that their load speeds are quicker. That's the only thing. So if you're building the website, yeah, WordPress is great. Like it looks great, awesome. But as far as load speeds, that's what you're looking at. So you just have to optimize all those images and resize them and they'll still look like this, but they'll be optimized in a way so that they load quicker.
Okay.
Another way to increase your load speed too is your hosting. I don't know where you're hosting the website at, but there might be a higher hosting.
I think it's GoDaddy.
Is it? Okay. So GoDaddy actually has WordPress hosting specifically for people who have WordPress websites. And so it's supposed to load quicker and that kind of stuff. So something to talk to them about and just be like, I'm really concerned about my images and how my website is slow to load. And they can assist you with that too. But I really like this one. I like the logo. I think this is pretty cute. I like the top. There's good clear calls to action. The menu navigation is good. I I wouldn't label it main page. Again, you could just put home or just get rid of it, right?
Okay.
And then we have submenus. So this one's a little long. Okay, so let's talk about just the labeling of pages, right?
Mhm.
So under nanny services, we have full-time nanny, part-time nanny, other nanny services, nanny taxes, payroll, nanny pay rates. So these we already know are nanny services.
Mhm.
So you could get rid of the word nanny.
Okay.
So you could say full-time, part-time, other services, taxes, payroll, pay rates. And there might be different words that you could use for these pages, but without looking at the content of the pages, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but just right off the bat, you could limit that labeling. And then that would make it not so long either, which we have other services, book a sitter, event care pricing, hotel pricing, FAQs, pet sitting. Okay. Okay. All right. So right off the bat, when we come to the website, it's aesthetically pleasing, right? It's cute. I like it. The pictures are cool. They pop at you. You can tell that this is a current website. The menu navigation makes sense, just a few things to tweak on. But we know exactly what this website is about. The thing here with the slideshows, so usually on slideshows, what you want is big headings and not a lot of text.
Okay.
So you want like eye-grabbing, attention-getting content here. So you want to, because they're not going to read this. This is going too fast, right?
Yeah.
I don't have enough time
Right.
to read it. You could have a big learn more button here that will
Okay.
take them to the page with that content. So that's an option too. And you can also, because this is WordPress, you can slow this down as well, the slideshow, how fast it'll go through the images. And that might be helpful too. I definitely like the fonts and colors that you're using though. See how it's consistent with her branding and her logo colors. I like that a lot. So here we have a little, is this the whole, oh, this is the whole homepage. Okay. All right. So you may, okay, so I said the homepage, you don't want to make it too long, but you don't want to make it too short.
Okay.
There's balance. So something cool here that you may want to put are your nanny services like in a box or boxes here.
Okay.
And then those could be clickable to those pages. It would just make the homepage more aesthetically pleasing, but the homepage is also supposed to showcase what you offer too. And make it easy for people to click without even having to go in the main menu navigation. So that might be an option here too. We'll go ahead and go to an internal page. So we'll go to the About Us page. So recent, okay. So WordPress platform themes, as well as Wix and other platforms, they use the blog format. And so
I
this is
don't love that.
exactly right. You want this page to be the About Us page. So the theme that you chose might be a blog theme, which is why this is probably showing up on every page of the site.
Okay.
Want that, right? You want just the About Us. So that's something to look at too. I do know that we've worked on a few websites where they got a blog theme where it was just a blog and they made a website out of it, and we were still able to get rid of this for them.
Okay.
So you didn't have to start all over, right?
Okay.
Because it's the last thing that you want to do. I would also make sure that this picture is bigger. So if you got rid of this picture would be bigger in the space, and then you could see it. The About page usually has a lot more words and stuff because it's your story, right? It's your story about you and your business. So
I tend to be really short-winded. Like I just did a project with another group I'm with, and we have 1 minute to give our elevator pitch, and mine was 24 seconds. That's how I tend to do things. Yeah, short to the point.
well, I think this is perfect. You always want to tell your story. A lot of people will go to your About Us page just to like figure out who you are as a person. What's your company about? Are you involved in your community? Do you do charity? Like things like that. So they want to get to know you. So this is perfect. And then about you. That's really good. All right, let's go ahead and go to another internal page. And then we'll try to fit in one more website. So I'm thinking this is another point to bring up. I'm thinking I can click on this because it changes colors. You know, the main menu navigation here, it's changing color. I'm thinking I could click on that and I can't. So if your main menu labeling doesn't click through, just brings your sub menu pages up, make sure that they don't change colors then.
Okay.
And that's just a setting within the back end.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead and click on one of these pages. So we'll click on event care. So event care doesn't have the recent posts on the right. So that's interesting. This picture I would move down to fit in this area just because it would just look better.
Okay.
And that's something easy to do. I am noticing that the font color here changed. That's something to look at too. It's a little bit fainter and
Yeah.
I've got glasses now. That might be something that your users are like, oh, wait a minute. And it's hard to read for them. So something to think about. And it does it here too. So,
Okay.
and that's easy to fix within WordPress. But yeah, overall, really good. You know, we definitely could look at the entire website if you wanted. And I'll show you guys how to do that in just a minute, but we're going to look at one more. I think we have time to look at one more website here. So let's go ahead and do that. Did you have, oh, I'm sorry. Did you have any specific questions that you want to ask right now that we're on here?
I don't think so. I think those are all really good tips. I like the idea of like, you know, taking out on that nanny services. You're right. It's repetitive to then say full-time nanny, part-time nanny, just kind of lower that down. Yeah, my rankings were really good for SEO, which surprised me, to be honest. But performance was a 9 out of 30.
Okay. Yeah. We just talk to GoDaddy and try to figure that one out, or figure out how to optimize those pages. Or I'm sorry, those images.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to do one more. Let me pull this one up. Okay, ctrnanny.com.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sorry, I joined late, so I apologize. I had another meeting.
Oh, no worries. So I'm just going to take a few minutes and then we can go ahead and close out here. So the first thing, choose the right nanny. So as soon as we come to the website, we know exactly what the website's about, right? We have a nice logo here and the colors to the website look like they coincide and they're consistent with the logo. Can you tell me what platform you built your website on?
Yes, it's on WordPress.
Okay,
and
awesome.
It's being hosted by Host, I believe.
Okay, all right, cool. So yeah, so menu navigation. So see how we don't have a home button here? That's good. We know that we can click on the logo and be taken back to the home page at any point when we're on the website. And we have clear menu navigation here, right? Services, we know that when we click there, we're going to get her services. Resources, we're going to get some family resources, about us, contact us, and a login. I'm just going to look at the homepage. So see how she has clear calls to action here? These buttons. That's something, Shayna, that you could put on your slideshow as well. So see how she has a nice heading here. She could have a little bit more verbiage if she wanted or not. And then some clear calls to action. So this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, this is nice. I would just say it's a little hard to read this content with the logo behind it. So maybe you want to remove it just so this is just white space. On websites, when content's overlapping images and things like that, it can make it hard to read for some users. So just something to think about.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, and this is a nice clean picture, which I like. So that's nice. And also, as far as the amount of content here, we've talked about that a little while ago too. You may want to put bullets here, or maybe bullets of your services here. And then this content actually goes on your services pages. Just
Okay.
because, you know, people come to the homepage and they're looking boom, 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 they're scanning, right? And you want to make sure on your homepage that you're right off the bat, what do I do?
Okay.
So same here. This is a lot of content. So without looking, you know, what makes us special? Again, a few bullet points, and then on the About Us page, you put all the verbiage.
Okay.
Same thing here. So I like, and the footer is big. Wow. Okay. So, we have recent posts. I mean, it's easy to read for me. This is nice. But as far as footers go, you want to make sure that they're short. So,
Okay.
just because every page of the website has this, it should have the same footer.
I don't know if mine does actually.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
So yeah, you want to shorten this. So, you know, recent posts, you could just have one or two listed. Accreditations, you could have it going horizontal instead of vertical. So there's a way to shorten this. Maybe
Okay.
not all the content needs to be here either. Just something to think about. When I was clicking around, I was just looking at your menu navigation. I thought it was longer for some reason. Hold on, let's go back to the home page. So we've got services, we've got resources, About Us, contact. Oh, I thought I saw some long thing over here. Never mind. So let's go ahead and look at, oh, this was it. So services, you have offshoots of different services. So this is fine to have a submenu of a submenu. Special needs and travel nannies. Okay. I would just make sure that your menu navigation, like the labeling, doesn't get too long. Okay. So if there's
Okay.
a way to shorten up this, so it's just one line, that's just better. It's also good for SEO too. So whoever built your website, when they submitted your robot file for your menu navigation so that you could start getting searched within the search engines, they had to put all this. And so for Google, they're looking for keywords. So if someone types in special needs, you know, your website's not going to come up, but it's not going to rank. But you want to put some kind of labeling here that's short, because Google
Okay.
won't even look at this because it's special needs and travel nannies. They're looking for two
Too
words.
much.
Yeah. And the other thing too, the symbols like the and sign or at sign in your menu navigation, you don't want to use either. So that's just another
Oh, okay.
for SEO.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, otherwise, let's look at an internal page here. So see how I clicked on specialty childcare, the labeling didn't change. I know I'm on that page. That's what you want to see.
Okay.
That's good. Content's good. Images is good. So again, I would just get rid of your logo in the background just because it makes it hard to read, right?
Okay.
Another thing too, we're kind of sticklers on this, but we like everything to line up. So all these buttons, just making them line up. And the reason why they don't is because this just doesn't have as much content as these two here.
Yeah.
It would look better, right? If it was lined up and it didn't.
Yes, absolutely.
So something to look at too. And then you have your footer. Okay. Do you have any specific questions about your website that you want me to?
No, actually, what I was wondering the most of was navigation. I was wondering if my navigation was clear enough, and I'm not ranking very well with SEO. And so optimization, how I can go about doing that. You know, I just made the assumption, as I think most of us do who don't know what we're doing, that when you have a website design, they automatically go in there and make it optimized for the web. And that's not necessarily true. That's a whole different process. And I didn't understand that.
Yeah. And yeah, to your point, WordPress, you know, the themes that you choose we'll say, yes, we have a mobile version of this theme, but you have to test it and you have to make sure that, you know, if you don't optimize those images either to the right size, to the scale that you need for the website, then on your phone, it's going to be coming off the page. So your
Yeah.
website may be mobile friendly, but then your images are, you can't read them, you can't see them, right, on a mobile device.
Right.
So yeah, all kinds of
Okay.
things to think about, right?
Well, thank you very, very much. I appreciate your advice.
You're welcome. So I'm just going to take you guys to our website right now to kind of close out here. So if you go to our website, and you go to, let's see, I think it's solutions. Let's see. Should bring down our menu navigation. I don't know what's going on. So I talked to you guys about loads. Here we go. It might be my internet, maybe. I don't know, because our website's very fast. So if you go to solutions and you go right here, it says free website analysis. If you click on that, you can fill out a short form. It's just your name and email address. And then we'll get an email, and then we can go ahead and look at your entire website. So we look at menu navigation, branding, all the things that I talked about in that slideshow at the very beginning. We would go through the entire thing. And the video's about 15 minutes long. We have actual users who look at your website as well, so they give us feedback. And then we also have a PhD from our parent company, Situated Research, look at your website that has specialty, right? A PhD in usability, who will give us feedback as well. And then that video is available to you for 5 business days, and then we take it down. But if you have any questions in the meantime, you can go ahead and just email those to us and we can set up a call. Natalie, do you have a question? I see your hands raised.
Yes, thanks. I noticed on Marilyn's website, and I just wanted to, anybody else who's listening to this, that she has an icon that says that she's a member of Domestic Estate Management Association. DEMA was disbanded in 2019. I purchased their assets out of bankruptcy in 2020 and launched Private Service Alliance. And so that's just an outdated membership thing that could be switched up to a new one.
We'll do that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. So yeah, Danny, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for doing all of this, and I hope everybody remembers QCamp. It's pretty easy to remember that one. Michelle is also part of the community as a guest expert, so if you have any questions about this or were to learn more stuff about this, you can actually just use the Engine Hire community, drop that in the, start a conversation there. And yeah, and we can get a hold of each other, everything like that. But yeah, absolutely reach out if anybody has any questions. I hope everybody knows, again, QCamp, go there to learn more about Michelle and everything that they do. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for joining us, and I'll make sure that this is posted.
Thank you.
Thank you,
so
everyone.
much.
Thank you, Danny.
Of course.